All right, guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Qatar.tv. Right, as I said in my morning briefing today, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about Xabi Alonso in this one. We've also got several mail stand emails to go over and a live stream at 6:30 UK time tonight. So if you want to come along, please do. I think that'll be a good one because we've got a lot to talk about. Talking of my morning briefing, I got 12 thumbs down on that video today. 12, I must have upset them, bless them. 12 thumbs down. Normally my videos don't get thumbs down, to be honest with you. Maybe one on a video. I think the most would be about 3 if I've really upset the wet wipes. But today, 12. I mean, I was that upset when I saw it. I was nearly crying into my swimming pool. But no, so now I have to decide whether to retaliate and make all the male stand videos channel members only today. I don't know. I'm in a very good mood though because they make me chuckle. So I'll probably do them for everyone, to be honest. But yeah, massive shout out to those of you that left amazing comments on my morning briefing. I appreciate you guys. I know you're with me. Fuck them lot. They're just scabs. Right, so let's talk about Xabi Alonso. Now, you know, or you should know, if you're a long-term viewer here, that Jose Felix Diaz in Spain, Madrid, he is the closest journalist to this guy here in this club, right? Without a doubt, unquestionable. During the Trent Alexander-Arnold saga, everything he said came off, everything. Obviously, when he was making these claims, you know, our fans, you know, in the UK or whatever were like, oh, who listens to the Spanish media? Blah, 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 blah. I wait till it's on Sky Sports News. Right, and all that. But everything he said was right. And during the Trent Alexander-Arnold saga, I spoke with Jose Felix Diaz. And, you know, he's very good. He doesn't publish everything he knows. The same with, you know, most credible journalists. So he's one that you should watch concerning anything to do with Real Madrid, right? He's very, very good, guys. So, a few months ago, he claimed that Liverpool had made an approach to Xabi Alonso or his agent or however you want to word it, right? An approach doesn't mean an offer, an approach, an inquiry, a sounding out, if you like. That's what I would use in my terminology, I think, a sounding out, right? The minute he said that, I knew immediately it was true, right? I have zero doubts about it, right? Because with Jose Felix Diaz, in that scenario, what does it matter what Liverpool are doing? It's not to do with a player that they might be interested in, you know, like during the, saga, the Trent saga. You know, it's not transfer related. They don't need to put any particular news out through Jose Felix Diaz of certain claims or anything. Really, Real Madrid don't give a fuck what happens to Alonso, right? So I know what's coming through Diaz regarding Alonso. For me, my opinion, your opinion may differ. I know it's true, right? I know it's true. He's got no reason to say anything else. So when he made that claim, I believed him absolutely. Now, the other day, he published an article, and I just want to get a little bit for you. I'm not going to read the entire article to you. Basically, it's along the lines of Liverpool called Real Madrid to inquire about Xabi Alonso. Well, he's not there, right? But what Jose was doing, or what he was saying, was that Liverpool had reached out to them. They're weighing up a move for Alonso, but had reached out to Real Madrid, with whom Liverpool Football Club have a very good relationship, believe it or not. I know when we're fans, we're raging at Trent and all that, but Liverpool have a very good relationship with the executives there. And basically, Jose was saying in the paper, and he might have said, you know, more elsewhere that's not in print, that Liverpool have made an approach to Real Madrid to inquire about Alonso's, you know, what went on, what was the vibe really. You know, everyone knows that it was a player versus manager issue there, or player versus head coach, whatever you want to call it. You know, the reason he left Real Madrid, he didn't fail at Real Madrid. He just failed to connect with the players because the players, you know, and you know what they're like there, didn't like how detailed Alonso was with training. All right, and when I mentioned this, I think last night on the stream, or a comment, someone maybe on a video said, you know, Arne Slot would have gone training. What's that? Because they're never there under Arne Slot, right? So Alonso's the other way. He's like very demanding, very Klopp-esque, I think. fine detail, like everyone wants to know everything and what happened in training, analysing everything, and they had a problem with it. And that was why there was, a player, revolt or whatever, at Real Madrid. So Liverpool, this is what it says in this article here that I'm going to go to you, bearing in mind it's been translated. So it talks about a call from Anfield, went to Valdebebas, this is Real Madrid's HQ, to ask about the work done by Alonso. The relationship between the clubs, despite the tension a year ago over Trent Alexander-Arnold, is one of trust. Hence the question put to Real Madrid's hierarchy. They were looking for backing for their decision. It's like a kind of recommendation letter from the business world, like a reference, if you like, like, come on, what's the crack? The truth is that Liverpool have doubts. Those who know the English club well acknowledge as much. They are the same doubts that led their directors to halt what looked like Slot's dismissal, especially after several press conferences that went down very badly. Now a period of reflection and decision making is opening, right? And we know this, right? This is the end of season review. Some people are like, what, they're going to sit at the end of the season to work out what's happened? No, maybe it's the end of season review, sit down, decision process. This is what we think, Anna, okay? So now a period of reflection and decision making is opening, and Alonso's name is certainly there. That's all I need to know from Jose Felix Diaz. Trust me, right? But the questions suggest it is not yet definitive. And I would agree with that. I do agree with that. So what the situation here, and is I think this has come from, let me rephrase this differently. I think some people connected to Liverpool Football Club, including myself, people like Jose Felix Diaz, some of these Madrid journalists, believe that Liverpool are looking at Alonso, but it's not guaranteed. Now, nothing's guaranteed in football. In other words, it's like they just want to make sure, that they're going through the right, processes, if you like, of making sure. So if you think back, I think it was last week, one of the Liverpool Clicker journalists, I don't know if it was Bad News Pierce or someone, I don't know, I think the message kind of coming out from Merseyside really is, don't just assume that it would be Alonso if there was a change. At the moment, their intentions right now are to stick with Arne Slot. And even if there was a job, don't just assume that it would be Alonso. And that's kind of what Jose Felix Diaz is saying here as well, isn't he? Because his name is certainly there, but the question suggests it is not yet definitive, right? Now, if you only pay attention to the likes of Ornstein and Joyce, which are the only two Liverpool journalists I ever pay attention to, doesn't mean that I, go with every single thing they say. And you've got to read very, very closely. If you get an article from Paul Joyce, don't just read it once quickly. Trust me, read it 3 or 4 times and you break it down, as much as you can. Ignore the headline, all right? Ignore the pictures that go with it because they can influence you, and just read the text. And I think you'll find, some of you guys lose your shit. You'll go, oh, Joyce has said he's staying. But when you read it, it might say, at the present time, the plan is to keep him, right? And it still leaves a door open, I think, a little bit. So if you think about it, Joyce and Ornstein, right, they work with Liverpool Football Club, right? So when they say something, you should say to yourself, who does it benefit? Why am I hearing this? Why do they want it out there, right? How does this benefit Jose Felix Diaz by making this claim? Real Madrid doesn't make any difference to them. They couldn't give a fuck, right? So for me, what I'm trying to say here to you is you should listen to Jose Felix Diaz. If I had Paul Joyce and Ornstein, right, both saying categorically Alonso's not being looked at, but Jose Felix Diaz was saying he is being looked at, I know who I would believe, all right? So for me, this article that he did the other day, and maybe something else that's been passed but not published, gives me enough belief that Liverpool are, at the very least, considering Xabi Alonso. Now, you might say, well, shouldn't they be doing that anyway? Well, yeah, of course. So they fucking should, just like Chelsea are, right? Of course they should. But if you only pay attention to the journalists on the Liverpool side of things, you might be thinking, oh, they don't want Alonso. Me, I think Ed was it. overly keen on him. I'm sure the last time around there was a vacancy. I'm sure FSG favoured Alonso. I'm sure they did. You guys will remember. I've got a memory like a sieve. But I think then that if you bring someone in as director of football or whatever, you can't really say to him then, can you? All right, we're hiring you to take charge of all our football operations. By the way, we want Alonso. You can't do that. You've got to go then. Who do you think the manager should be? Richard Hughes. He's all right. He's our dick. Do you know what I mean? So my doubt regarding Alonso has always been the structure at Liverpool Football Club, because I don't think he's coming in to be an Arne Slot. Let me rephrase that. I'm not saying he's coming in. I don't think he would come in to be a head coach where he's got to go to someone that plays Football Manager and ask them what their opinion is, right? Alonso's done it. So as a player and as a manager. So this is about power. And I don't think Michael Edwards likes people with power. That's why I think Michael Edwards doesn't work with Jurgen Klopp, So would you say Arne Slot had a lot of power when he came in, or has had a lot of power when he's been at the club? No. So I don't think Edwards would want to oversee the appointment of anyone that was a fan favourite, that's got the backing of the fans and things like that. If you think back to when Kenny Dalglish was manager the second time around, which I still can't believe he was manager, it's incredible that it just shows you anything can happen in football. I don't mean that in a negative way. It was amazing when he came back. What I mean is, when there was what FSG were doing at the time, austerity and things like that, it made sense to get rid of Dalglish because he was too powerful. He's too powerful. So if you were the owners and you wanted to, make drastic cuts or changes, you've got to make sure everyone's on side. And if you've got someone like Kenny Dalglish with a lot of power, or Rafa, right, another one that they overlooked again, if you think back to it, when there's talk of him maybe coming back, they don't want, these people don't want people that connect too well with the supporters, in my opinion. Now, you could say Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp connected with the supporters after he was the manager, and certainly nobody would believe, the connection that Jurgen built, if that makes sense. He was a very highly rated manager. The supporters were calling for him at the time, but he didn't have a connection to the fan base, like Rafa would have had coming back, or like Dalglish had. At the club, or what Alonso could possibly have, or even Steven Gerrard, if he comes in some capacity. And I've always been of the opinion that I think Michael Edwards likes to be the main man, So, but is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there? It's a really, really strange thing. I think I think a lot of things are going to happen at this club, to be honest with you. Now, as I said yesterday, I think we're entering a period now where we're going to start seeing some activity. Like when I say activity, I don't mean breaking news. What I mean is you've got to look at the reporting and stuff. I've been here nearly 30 years. Have I ever told you that? And the thing is, you see patterns and you know when to expect things at different times of the year, right? You might read a news article or gossip every day of the week. I do, but I can see a change sometimes, right? So in my opinion, that change happened yesterday, right? So you don't need to understand. It's just my feeling, all right? And my long-term viewers around here will probably go, he'll be right. Look, it says Dunk knows best on my cap. You know what I'm saying, right? So my intuition, my experience, I think we're now entering a period where we're going to start seeing credible things or things that just seem a little bit different. Now, at the moment, you might not have seen that, but I will identify them to you and I'll say, this is what I meant, all right? I think the Chelsea exploring the possibility of recruiting Xabi Alonso was possibly the start of that. Now, we've heard of Alonso being mentioned with Chelsea and this, that and the other, but I just think there's agents at play there, putting a little bit of pressure on Liverpool. Obviously, Chelsea would love Xabi Alonso, and Alonso's out of work. So, of course, why would he not say, yeah, I'll talk to you? But how come we got to hear about that one? So I think it started, right? So it doesn't mean you're going to get breaking news tonight or tomorrow, but over the coming weeks, I think we're going to start seeing things a little bit fall into place. Now, if I heard some other numpty say that, right, one of these Twitter twats or something, I'd be thinking it's the end of the season, mate. It's not fucking rocket science. We're going to see something. So you have to decide whether I'm just saying it because it's the end of the season or if I genuinely think that, all right? I think my peoples that have been around here a long time know that I'm not just stating the obvious. I do think that we're going to see something. I think it started already anyway. So keep an eye on it. I keep an eye on it for you, and we'll regroup and talk about it later. Listen, if you ever see anything from Jose Felix Diaz to do with Xabi Alonso, you pay attention, right? Trust me, pay attention. See what he's got to say. And always compare, like, it's always good, I think, to get the other angle. Like during the Trent Alexander-Arnold situation, there was the journalists in Liverpool or on our side, if you like, that were making various claims. And then, Jose Felix Diaz was saying the opposite in Spain. And I'm like, it's really interesting that. Yeah, I find it very interesting when there's different views. And obviously these journalists, work with the club they're representing. So you've got to look for the propaganda and shit like that and messaging, club messaging and things. But I remember, speaking to Jose, he was adamant about about the Trent thing. So there you go. All right, I'll leave it with you. So the reason for the video, I'm not sure really. No, the reason for the video is to say to you that you should pay attention to Jose Felix Diaz. He is reiterating something from an opinion he had months ago when he said Liverpool had made some kind of sniffing around inquiry, to now a call has gone through to Real Madrid from Anfield to talk about Alonso's situation there, and when he was there, all right. If he said that, I guarantee you it has happened, right? Now, what I can't guarantee is that Liverpool will act on it in a particular way that you want. I don't know what will happen, guys. I have no idea. But as far as I'm concerned, that suggests to me Alonso is under consideration, despite what the rest of them are telling you. All right? So, if you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up the video. If you didn't, thumbs it down. Drop me a comment. There's love out of the video if you want to support my channel. There's a channel membership as well, of course. And in the video description, there's alternative links of different ways of supporting me. The Revolut one is my beer kitty for the weekend, and I'm hoping to have a quiet drink at the weekend with my girl. I'll just tell you, at the weekend, Sunday, my team, my local team here, the league, we're in the playoffs, and the league announced the dates of the playoffs as the 17th, I think, which is Sunday. So me and my girl said, it's an away game, why don't we just stay the night, we'll have a bit of peace, because we've not seen each other much recently, we work and that. So I said, all right, so I booked the hotel, did it on one of them like non-cancellation things to get like 20, 30 quid off it or something. The away team that were playing changed the fucking game to Saturday. They've changed it to Saturday. And now the hotel, they won't let me move the thing. They won't let me, they won't give me my money back. They won't do a goodwill gesture. They won't let me change it to the Saturday. They won't let me move it out. Do you know what I mean? So they really pissed me right off. So it looks like we're going to be staying away two days this weekend. So I'm hoping, because of that, maybe it'll work in our favour, to have a bit of a drink with my girl at the weekend. You know what I mean? Looking forward to it, to be honest with you. So anyway, sorry, I'm just getting wound up because I spoke to Joanna at reception this morning. She didn't want to fucking know a thing. You know what I mean? She said, our hotel policy. I booked it through booking.com. And booking.com, what they say. I said, I know what it says, but I also know you can override it as a gesture of goodwill. Which, if you won't fucking do, you won't be getting me over your fucking door again, motherfucker. Don't know why I've started waffling on about that. Well, just probably because I want to drink at weekend. Fuck it. If we lose, I'll want more than it. I might just come home. Fuck it. Have you ever done that before? Have you ever booked into an hotel and your plans are changed and they won't give you your money back? What have you had to... Can you tell me what you did? Did you just, sit it out? They've said to me on the Saturday, they said, you can stay here on a Saturday. You have to stay for 2 nights. I went, well, I've already got Sunday, haven't I? All right. So she said, yeah, Sunday it's €300 for Saturday. Fuck right off. So now, this weekend, I'm going to probably end up staying in 2 different hotels when I don't even want to be there for 2 nights. That's me rant, right? That's the human side of me telling you that I'm fucking fuming in the background, all right? Let's see what they do. Anyway, that's what I want to tell you. I'm going to go now. Don't forget, live stream tonight at 6:30 p.m. UK time. All right, guys, take it easy.